and welcome to Coffee at 11 with my very special guest and good friend for several years now, Amanda Delaney. Please say hi, Amanda.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Colin, for the invite. We're very privileged to be in this seat this morning.
I think it's us that are privileged to hear your story, Amanda, so looking forward to it immensely. So let me tell you, folks, as we always start the Coffee at 11 show, I'm going to tell you with some of the nice stuff that my guests wrote about themselves. Now we go over to them. Amanda Delaney, her business name is We Can and We Will. What does your business do? It does business mentoring and events. How long established? 4 years. How many employees? None. Love that. Introduction is Amanda is a business mentor, public speaker, tribe leader. Love that. Founded We Can and We Will, a high trust community network helping over 120 people at her We Can and We Will talk events. 20 years of experience as a business owner across multiple industries. Amanda made the decision to brand herself over 4 years ago and grew her network using Facebook and other social media platforms. As a busy mammy, she had no time to attend networking events, so she embraced video as a way of attracting and connecting with her audience and increasing her network. And her motto is, together, everyone achieves more. And then something nobody knows about Amanda. She says, I made envelopes and school copies. Now there's something, there's our first on the show. Amanda Delaney, it's a pleasure knowing you, and it's a pleasure having you on Coffee at 11 this morning. So over to you. Tell us, please, who is Amanda Delaney? Bring us up to the point of We Can and We Will. Thanks.
Oh, jeepers, I'll do that very briefly. Like you know, we all say your success where we are now is a journey. You don't just arrive anywhere. So leaving school at 14, I'll keep this very brief, thought I knew everything, as we do at 14, and followed my mum and my sister's footsteps into the factory that made copies and envelopes. And I stayed there for 5 years. And I honestly knew no different. But I had my first child at 19, and I knew something had to change. Although I was on good money, there was no prospects in the factory, and I wanted something, you know, better for my future, for my son. So I remember asking somebody, how do you hand in your notice? Because I had no idea. Like, I'd left there at a young age and just, you know, did that. That's all I knew. And I sobbed the day I told my supervisor I was leaving. And I left really with nothing else to do. But I jumped into a fitness course. So 21 years of age, very overweight, very unhealthy, no interest in fitness. But my friends had done this course, and I thought, sure, I know the instructors, they'll let me in there. Everybody laughed their heads off. I thought my poor mother was going to keel over with the laughter, because on paper, this was the most ridiculous thing that I could have come out with to do. But when I said about doing something, Colin, I'm determined. So it was a struggle. It was a tough 9 months. Not, you know, I hadn't been in school for so long. So I had to learn the anatomy, the physiology. That was without the physical exercise. I had to learn to swim. I wasn't even a swimming instructor. I couldn't swim, and I became a lifeguard over those 9 months. So it was intense, to say the least. And I think when we stretch, we grow, and that was one of my proudest achievements. I came out of that after having a tough 9 months with childcare and the physical and the intellectual difficulties learning all that. But I was so proud when I got awarded the Student of the Year. And that was pure determination. There was times when it was looking like I was going to have to quit. I had nobody to mind this child while I could do this. The projects were hard. Everything was difficult.
I am going to interrupt you just to give you the first of our rounds of applause this morning. Everybody please give Amanda a round of applause. Student of the Year, couldn't swim and became a lifeguard in 9 months.
Yeah.
Please. Can see where this interview is going.
When you're on the journey, you don't always appreciate what's happening in the here and now. You know, I left there with the qualifications, and I thought, oh, I'll go in and get a job somewhere. So as a single parent, as Nicola would say, an independent parent, the only thing that was really optional for me then was a CE scheme, you know, where the government pay you to do these schemes. So I went into a gym and I got a job as a receptionist. I was like, here we go again. I don't know anything about reception. I've just worked in a factory. I've just trained to do all this fitness stuff, and now they're putting me behind the desk. And but you know what? They were brilliant. They became like my family. They all took me under their wing, and slowly but surely they started to put me to teach classes, to work in the gym. And the funny thing, the ironic thing is that swimming teaching became my biggest passion throughout the 10 years I spent in fitness. Because I think I knew the fears, I understood what it was like to get the burny nose, nostrils, to bang your toe, to feel uncomfortable, to be shaky in the water. So when new people came to learn to swim, I was like, I'll teach you. And some guy, I remember, was a couple of years in the industry, and I was up in a different gym. And this guy said, he started name dropping. Oh, this guy tried to teach me, and this guy. Now, anybody who knows me knows I'm not impressed by what anybody else does. It's like, I don't care. I'll teach you. And I did. In 3 lessons, that guy was swimming, because most swimming teachers come from a background of swimming all their lives. They don't understand the fear, the real fear of putting your face in and blowing a bubble out through your nose. Like, that's just terrifying. So some of my proudest moments was teaching the water aerobics and teaching the swimming. So I stayed there for many years, Colin, many years. And I loved the fact, and again, this was a hindsight, looking back on the journey. I loved the fact that in that industry, I could change lives. I could make a difference to people that would stay with them for their life. It wasn't just, oh, here you go. Like, you teach someone to swim, it's a skill for life. I helped many people to lose a lot of weight and get healthier. You know, I remember this lady stood in the corner on the treadmill, and I found her. And I said, what are you doing over here? I'm just coming in doing my bit. And she went on to lose 6 stone and stand in the middle, you know, pick the treadmill in the middle of the gym. And that was, for me, was always filled up my cup, always. So after a long time in there, I said, I got an opportunity to be a manager of a beauty salon. Now, I'd never put a spatula in a pot. I hadn't a clue. But as the clients in the gym would come to me to paint their nails in the locker room or rub a bit of tan on them. So I always had the interest in the beauty side, but never in my wildest dreams would I have ever said, I'm going to be a beautician. Except for this lady said, I need someone to run my beauty salon, and I want someone I can trust, Amanda. Now, I was 30 years of age. I was just married and not a clue about beauty. So I said, oh, after a few weeks, few sleepless nights, leaving an industry that, you know, I was getting well paid. I was doing a lot of personal training, personal swimming lessons. And here I was faced with this, do I stay, do I go? But my motto is, I can always go back, but I won't get this opportunity to go forward again and try something different. So I said yes, and I worked with her for a little while, and then I missed teaching. I missed the teaching aspect. I remember doing the first nail course and looking at the teacher in the room going, I'd love to do what she's doing. So, and again, this is hindsight, guys. I never realised this until a couple of years ago, looking back. But I did. I went on then to open up my own salon, my own beauty school, and I had that for 10 years, ran it very successfully. And not everybody knows that. I presume people do. But people, I suppose, know me for we can and we will. But that's my background for business. And it was then through the beauty side of my business that I was introduced to network marketing. And I'm forever grateful for the journey that took me on. That was the game changer.
I love it. I love it. But before the game changer, Amanda, you mean you've given us some journey from finish. Like, I was just making some notes there. One thing that struck me was you've developed an ability to be comfortable outside your comfort zone, right? You seriously, I'm going back to the swimming thing, sticking your head in the water and blowing a bubble out through, you know, it's very scary. It's a very scary proposition for anybody who has never done it. Yeah. But you seem to have developed that habit, that ability to be able to do that multiple times in your life. So when somebody said, will you manage my salon, you stuck your head under the water, blew a bubble out through your nose again, right? Yeah. And then you learned, you missed the teaching, so you set up your own salon. Yeah. At every juncture, you've just stepped outside your comfort zone. You said something as well, I can always go back, but I may never have this opportunity again. I love that. Love Bill Gates said, you know, say yes and work it out
later. Yeah.
And that's how you live your life. And that's why we're here this morning, right? And it's why you've got a very successful group that you've built over the last number of years in We Can and We Will. Yeah. I was involved in network marketing for many years. I think that industry has huge lessons to teach us all. I think it's a very powerful industry from at least that perspective. So take us through that area of network marketing into We Can and We Will, please, and up to COVID.
Yeah. So again, through the skills, when I started to go to seminars and events, this was like, oh, I remember my first time at a big conference going, oh my goodness, I was just hyper all day, looking at people up and down the stages, you know, the MCs and all this. This was just like better than any nightclub I'd been in. It was incredible. I was so pumped. And I remember the first event going, how do I get on that stage? And I wrote down every single thing that people were up for. And I said, I'm going to be up on that stage. And I think I spent the next 3 years constantly on that stage. Every time there was a conference, Amanda was up for an award. So I firmly believe that people will do more for recognition than the actual prize itself. Well, I would. And I've spoke to many people about this. It took me a long time to admit that and say it out loud. It's okay to love recognition. There's very much a lack of it in the world. So I absolutely love it. If there's a shiny pen up for grabs and I could be on a stage, I bet you I'm going to get that shiny pen. But being up on the stage and hearing, network marketing was a lot about storytelling. I became very much in love with storytelling. I believe that is the way we connect as human beings. Facts tell, stories will sell. So I loved the fact that I could connect on an emotional level by hearing people's stories. And then when I fast forward to We Can and We Will, when I stepped out of my comfort zone, because Amanda was so used to being in this space where everybody knew her and there was huge recognition, and it was like, you know, I was always had a word of encouragement for people along my journey. But then it was like, okay, Amanda, you need to go outside of here and go to networking meetings. Oh, Colin, I'm not joking. I used to get flippy stomach, sweaty hands. I absolutely would be in a bundle before I'd book it, and then I would be sweating. I'd be there half an hour early if it was in the city centre because I had to drive and find parking. The thought of going into those rooms used to fill me with terror. And I'm not talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking even up to 3 years ago. Even when I had my own networking group, I still feared going into those spaces. And I've done a lot of work around this. What's going on in here, Amanda? As a child growing up, we would have grown up in a very much, my dad was a welder, my mum worked in that factory. Anybody in suits would have been authority. Anybody who had a business for themselves, it's well for them. Do you know, so that was the conditioning as a youngster, growing up for people with businesses or people who had successfully made it or wore suits or had authority. And probably that's not what my parents meant, but as a child, that's how I consumed that information. So walking in here, I always felt I'm not good enough. This language is going to be above my head. I don't know enough. I'll feel stupid. I'll feel silly. So for a long time, I would have put that mask on and would have left there feeling very exhausted, very tired from trying to fit in. I remember many times standing around a group where they'd all be chatting and everybody know each other, and I would feel like a spare wheel, you know, floating around, not wanting to interrupt that conversation because you don't know anybody and all that stuff. And that's where We Can and We Will came from, because I wanted a networking group that people would get a hug on the way in the door. That if you were there on your own, you were never left on your own. You were brought straight to somebody who would welcome you. And that's exactly what I grew and built. Now I did the first year, you were with me in the Red Cow. This was another, and I only told Colin this, I only told you this last year. I set up the networking group. It was a lunchtime network. And we were meeting every 2 weeks in a hotel here in Dublin. And then I decided, wouldn't it be nice to bring in a speaker? And I asked, I didn't know Colin, I'd seen him on the internet. And I don't know how, I can't remember, but I remember saying, he seems like a nice man. I'm not good for asking for help or asking for anything, as you can probably tell by my story. I do myself. But I said, oh, I wonder would he, oh, he's all the way in Limerick. Oh gosh, am I good enough? Will he come? Who am I? I'm only small. Like, oh, anyway, shut up, Amanda, and go and ask him. And I did. And, you know, we never realised until last year how much that meant to me. Because, on the outside, we don't know how people are feeling on the inside. We can look, perception on the internet and at these events can be one thing, but the true feelings in the core of us is something quite different at times. So when Colin said, oh, of course I will, and he was a true gentleman, and to this day, that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to this day, the members of We Can and We Will still talk about the presentation that Colin came all the way up and kindly done for us. But that was a big step for me. And you know, when we stick our head out, we're waiting to be chopped. But when we don't get chopped and we get treated, you know, like from someone who I really admired, this hugely successful businessman, and he's saying yes to me, that just does wonders for your growth.
I must come in here. I must come in.
I know, for Ireland.
For a million different reasons, Amanda, right? Thank you for those lovely, kind words. And you're right, I did not know until last year that had meant so much to you. So thank you for that. But before we go, because this is so rich, I want to just pause before we get into the We Can and We Will.
Yeah.
Next will be We Can and We Will up to COVID, if that's okay. But there's been so much up to that. A couple of things that you said, people will often do more for recognition than they will for even for money. My dad was like that. My dad's a great guy. He's 82 now. But he worked for a pat on the back all his life and was underpaid all his life and undervalued. He brought in millions. As you know, somebody said he made millions, but he made it for the company that he worked for, right? But he also had a servant's heart like you have, right? And he always said, stop selling, start serving. That was his way of, that's why he was so successful in sales, as it happens. You mentioned storytelling, and that's something that you have mastered in We Can and We Will. You allow people to tell their story, and we can see people blossom in front of our very eyes. Yeah. You were very honest with us, and I really appreciate that, because that's what this little show has become. It's about real people coming in, being really honest and telling the backstory, because here's the problem. Everybody looks at you now, and all they see is you now. Is that okay, yeah? And there's dead cool. She's got her SH together, right? Everything. She must have had a silver spoon. So it's really important that people tell the real story. Dad was a welder, man worked in that factory. Yeah. People in suits were authority. That's very powerful stuff. But come here, and you put the mask on, and even I wouldn't have picked out the fact that you admitted that you walking into a room full of people would have scared the living daylights out of you.
It does.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that, Amanda. Okay, so we've met Amanda, right? We're now We Can and We Will. Tell us what it was like, and bring us right up to COVID. Thanks.
Oh, I tell you, I have a pain in my thumb here from texting, and I'm literally working 14, 15 hours a day now at the moment. But what happened was, we were meeting every 2 weeks, as I said, and after 12 months of, and some of the members were here that were there in the Red Cow with us along that journey, I started to see that this was turning into one of those networking meetings that I didn't like. You know, you'd see the people that would only show up when they had something to sell, and they would take up the time from the table, which is fine, and then you'd never see them again. And I was getting that flippy belly. This is not in line. This is not what I'm about. This is not what I expected. So I said, right, feck it, I'm stopping this. This is not happening anymore. Connor's here, and I said, let's do a mastermind, and let's bring the people who are showing up all the time. Let's bring those people together. And we did. So we used to meet every 2 weeks before we brought that onto Zoom. And like everything else, after a couple of months, it fizzled out. But in the meantime, I had started We Can and We Will Talk. This was where the real magic, and I'm doing a workshop with Nicola Connolly on Wednesday about your values. Your values matter. I stumbled across my values. Somebody mentioned it at an event one day, and I was like, oh, that sounded a bit interesting. And then I joined another group, and the first thing I had to do was work on my values. And when I figured out exactly what was mine, and what was my man's, and what was my dad's, and what was everybody else's, that Amanda was still trying to live by, it was game changer. A game changer for my business, a game changer for my life, because now I knew who I was, now I knew what my values were, I had put them in order, and I'd spent that time doing that work and figuring it out. We all think we know our values, but what I didn't understand was a lot of mine were inherited values, such as businessmen and money wasn't good and all that nonsense that I was still carrying that didn't belong to me. The weight of it on my back, I was like, no wonder I was exhausted, Colin. I just said no. So I did that work. I dumped off some values that weren't mine. I identified the ones that were mine, and I set about building a business with the whole ethos of my brand being Amanda Delaney's values, not my dad's, not my mom's, not anybody else's, only my own. And that was that I wanted to be honest. Connor is here, and he taught me the power of transparency and, being upfront, being honest, even if it's hard, just put it on the table. So for me, We Can and We Will Talk came about with every single part of my being and my values at the core of it. From the welcoming, from the everybody deserves to be heard. If you've got a story, we don't give ourselves enough credit. We undermine our own stories thinking, sure, that was everybody. And you mentioned it there. When you see what 10 minutes of sharing a story can do for people, like just having that voice to be heard, and sometimes the power is that you're sharing it to an audience, even if you don't know them. It's like something sets them free. And I have seen my clients and some people that I didn't know, they weren't my clients then, they get up, share a story. One lady, Gabrielle, I'm always talking about her, she'd been ripping up business cards after doing degree after degree for her business. She didn't feel like a business owner. She ripped the cards up, put them in the bin. I invited her on the stage with me and I interviewed her for 10 minutes. Her story was horrendous. She just has such a tough life. She shared it on the stage. That night, she now has a thriving business. She set herself free by voicing it out and telling. She said to me at the stage, and I have a business. I nearly fell off the chair. I said, you never told me that. It all came out and she set herself free that night. And that's just one story. There's a zillion stories like that.
And I've had the privilege of attending some of your weekend.
Yeah, I'm speaking at them ones.
But they are magic. There's a magic about them. And you're absolutely right. It's where everybody gets a hug on the way in. If they want a hug on the way in, they get left alone if they want to be left alone. But they're never left feeling alone. And I've seen it in action in your groups. I wasn't there for Gabriella's interview, but I've seen it in action where even on the fly, where somebody's slotted to speak, if they've got the jitters, what do you call it, the flippy belly, flippy tummy, right?
Yeah.
You will, or Nick will, interview them and put them at ease, and there's something magical about that. And you've just shared it there. You stood up there or sat up there on stage with Gabriella.
Gabriella, it's on my YouTube channel.
So check it out, Gabriella.
Incredible. Gabriella Collins, she's amazing.
But once you opened it up for her, she was set free. So it's just
what we need to do. This is the thing. My role as a business mentor, as a coach, as a friend, as a leader, or whatever, is to see that spark in you. I see you, I hear you. I see your potential. I believe in you, and I will keep encouraging you. So when people come in first, it's gentle, gentle. Then they might get a little gentle, 2 hands on the back. Come on, come on, come on. And then the more they're working with me or around me, it's like, right, now you get a kick in the arse. Go do it.
I love it. You really should learn to express yourself, Amanda. It's challenging. No, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful. Amanda, very exciting, right? And we could go all day, but we don't. We don't all day. So you've brought us through a fabulous journey. Is that okay? Yeah. And you're an amazing, inspiring individual, right? And you brought us from those very humble beginnings where what you've achieved to date would have been so far outside your comfort zone.
Mm.
And the values that you were raised with. It's not funny, but you're only starting now, right? Okay, so you're getting going, right? And then COVID hit. What's it been like through COVID? What's it like just now?
It's fantastic. It is fantastic, Colin. Literally, you've no idea. My business is exploding right now.
I'm delighted, and we're going to give you another round of applause here because that's just fantastic. You see, the whole idea here is to bring real people on. That's the whole idea. Bring real people on and share their real story. And for a lot of people, the world fell off a cliff. For more people, I'm delighted to hear the world is lifting off. Happy days. Right back to you.
I tell you what happened was, I was running the talk events and all these events and stuff, and I actually didn't have a business to offer people. So I was running a networking event for business owners, and my business at the time was my network marketing, which it wasn't, I don't even know how to describe it. But anyway, I knew there was more and I didn't have it yet. And it wasn't until November 2018, 16 months ago, 14 months ago, whatever. I had been asked to coach for years. Amanda, you should be a coach. You should be a coach. And I was like, I would just pick off. I was coaching in my network and in my team and stuff, but I didn't do any qualifications to be a coach. All I had was all the experiences. And I was always having coffee with people, on the phone with people, giving advice, giving tips, etc., etc. And many times, you should do that. Would you ever stop it? I'm not doing that. And then what happened was I saw a couple of friends of mine take on another coach and they just didn't gel, okay? So they rang me up and they said, look, I'm not just signing up to this and I'm paying all this money and you're actually helping me more on the phone. Please, 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 will you coach me? And I said, oh, okay then, okay. So that was it. And I said, I knew these people were very small, you know, humble beginnings of their business. They didn't have, and I didn't even know what to charge. And I kept saying, we'll set up a group, we'll coach as a group. And then she'd say, did you get the group yet? And I was putting it out on social media and taking it back. I was like, oh, will I, won't I, will I, won't I? And then she wouldn't leave me alone. And I said, okay, we'll start the flipping group, just me and you for now. And then I was doing another workshop and this lady said, Amanda, can I have a word with you? And I said, oh yeah, you okay? She said, would you coach me? I said, we're just after setting up a group, me and Gabrielle. Do you want to join us? Now there's 3. Right? So then there was 3 of us. So then all this time, the community group that I have, and if you're a business owner and you're looking to get support, I have an amazing complimentary community group on social media. I was watching, and I'm always in tune with what's happening with the people in there. And I could see certain people were struggling to do video, but wanted to do it. And others were like, oh, I'd love to do it. I just got this sense. And I said, check it. I'm going to put on a 5-day video challenge and see who needs help. 36 people said, yeah, me. And that was the first, and I had no plan, by the way. I had no plan. I was just, they need help. I had studied how to run a Facebook group. I had done that 9 months previously, but I didn't know how. And there's a nugget in that. I had no idea how I was going to launch or what that would look like. But here was my people needing me. And as you said, Colin, I'm there to serve. I said, I'll put this on. Well, we had a second great week. It was brilliant. And at the end of that, on the 4th day, people were saying, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. This is fantastic. And I said, oh, they're telling you now, this is your opportunity to open your group, to actually officially start this coaching online group. So I said to them, I have an idea, I'm going to bed and I'll wake up in the morning and I'll share my idea with you. And anybody who was there would say, this is the truth. There was no plan setting up that challenge to upsell or do any of that stuff. It was literally, that's how it happened. And I woke up the next morning. I teach a bit of fitness at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, I don't now because we're on lockdown. I woke up and on the way back from that class, all of the clarity, the vision, how this was going to work, it all came clear. And I got on a video and I said, this is what's going to happen. And 20 people said, sign me up, I'm in. And that was the start of Amanda Delaney online coaching.
That's phenomenal. But I keep going back to you sticking your head under the water and blowing a bubble out of your nose, right? I keep going back to that. At every juncture, it's, do you know what? We'll figure this out. Let's do it. And you also said again, you said, I can always go back, but I may never get this opportunity again. You're a master, dare I say it, at taking the ball on the hop, if you know that analogy. And just...
Gutsy lady, I've been called by my clients. You're a gutsy lady. I get an idea, I get a plan, I run.
Happy days. Love it. I'm delighted for you, and I'm sure everybody on the call is also delighted for you that we can and we will is actually lifting off in these times.
Yeah, but it's Passion to Profit is my academy now. It's all changed again because COVID. I was running that and we did a couple of more challenges. So then all of this, do you know what happened was, I was talking to Nicola, my friend, before Christmas, and we'd run a few workshops together. And Nicola said something to me, and I said, Nicola, we're Facebook queens here. Go on and do that workshop on Facebook. It's last minute. You've got clients all over the country. They know us from Facebook. Go do that workshop and do it in Facebook. Oh, man, that's a brilliant idea. And it was a huge success. So I had then put on a workshop of how to run workshops, a workshop about workshops, it live, and I had no intentions of doing it, and it felt right. I literally had 2 weeks, pulled it together, and I done it. So I had said I was going to do that in February. But again, the problem was people traveling from all over the country, and I said, scrap it, I'm going to do it on social media. So I did that event on social media, and I came off that after 3.5 hours of teaching on fire. I was like, I love this. I absolutely love this way of teaching. So that then became more apparent. I want to do more of this. I want to do more of this. So what's after happening since COVID? Since we were told lockdown, myself and Nicola postponed the values workshop, which is now happening on Zoom and in a Facebook group live on Wednesday morning. Cannot wait. But for my academy, I had started to, you know, they say the mirrors turn and you start to see. Because of what happened with COVID, I started to say to my online academy group, let's do more Zooms, because I felt they needed more of this, more of being heard. And all my content, my learning content, everything I teach, the modules, is all in my Facebook group. And I was just doing live videos. Since COVID-19, we've been on Zoom calls every Friday, and the impact that has been absolutely incredible. So now, and what I realize is that all of my valuable content that's sitting in those units, anybody who's on Facebook, it's hard. It's hard to go and find there. You're distracted. Social media is not a great space for modules to be learning. It's too distracting. Somebody bings, notification. So because of this, I have now hired a team of people yesterday. I am building a whole new membership site. Passion to Profit Academy is getting built this week because we just finished the video challenge there on Friday. So I'm opening the doors this Friday. So this is me galloping. So I'm opening the doors. I have the content there, but it needs to be moved, and I need some videos. So we've got loads of new people joining the academy, and the Zoom calls now are going to be part of that program, so that everybody has a voice twice a month. You can voice out, I'm stuck. Nobody says stuck on my watch. Nobody.
I am smiling here because you just said I'm galloping, right? And I'm imagining this team hanging on for dear life behind you, right?
It's like I'm working with, he said, I'm so excited because look at you. I just asked you to do something. It's done.
Happy days. And that Amanda Delaney is why you are Amanda Delaney and why it's all working for you and all coming together for you. You've lived these principles in different eras, if you like, through your life, and it's all coming together now beautifully and perfectly for you. And the universe is perfect timing, and you're about to explode. And we wish you every success with passion. Give Amanda Delaney a round of applause to wish you every success with that. Now, we could go on all day, but we can't. So we're going to go to Q&A from the floor in just a minute. Before we, Amanda Delaney, one tip. What would you say to your nearest and dearest? You're going to get through COVID best by doing blah. What's blah?
Have one intention for the day. If you have nothing to do, you will really go into a slump. So have something, have a purpose or something that you want to learn, do, achieve, you know, something for this time that keeps you going, a focus, something to aim towards. Be on purpose. Just do everything on purpose. That's my motto this year. Be on purpose. Stop stumbling through your life and your business. Do everything with intention and purpose.
Be on purpose.
Yes.
Phrase for the day. Be on purpose. Amanda Delaney, pleasure. I knew it would. I knew it'd be fun. It's been wonderful. Okay, questions and answers section. Who's got the first question before I hand over to Princess Shelley? Who's brave enough to break the ice? Sarah Ward.
Hi Amanda, how are you?
Hi Sarah.
I just love your energy. It's fabulous, and I love the way you just try things out and go for them. You know, I just wanted to ask you about doing your Facebook groups and stuff. I do Zoom calls for a charity, the Irish ME Trust, and not everybody's happy with Skype. Some of them want to go on Facebook and other ones want. How do you decide which is, like, you can't keep everybody happy? How did you decide?
Don't even
Yeah,
try
exactly,
that.
exactly. So how did you decide which one was the best for you?
Well, I use them for different purposes. I always say, what's the purpose? There's no behaviour without a purpose. So what's the purpose of the call? What do you want to get from it? So just the way I explain, the community group on social media is where people, the network, there's 600 people in that group. So they get to promote their business, they get to encourage and support each other. That's the purpose of that group, is that people don't feel alone in their business. So they have that support. When I use Zoom, I use it for business mentoring. So I do fire up mentoring sessions and mentoring. So it's a different purpose. So it depends on the purpose, depends on the amount of people, you know, and then if you look at your people and look at the majority, what's the feelings on technology? Where do most people feel comfortable with?
Yeah, that's probably, see, it's all based on people with a particular condition. So it's all voluntary stuff. So a lot of the people been at home and they're isolated and stuff, and you've got to get some help to them. So, and they're not that comfortable with social media. So basically Skype was the one they were most comfortable with. But how do you go about introducing and making them comfortable with, say, Zoom, for example?
Okay, it's baby steps, Sarah.
Right.
It's baby steps. So if I was you, I would, if you have got a Facebook group or somewhere where you could do the Zoom call, record a little piece of it and show them that it's not that scary. We can't tell people anything. We need to show them.
Yeah, yeah.
So for an example of that would be when I do the Zoom calls with my academy, I live stream it, Facebook live stream it into the group on Facebook, so that those who aren't coming, they either feel, oh, I'm not missing that next week because I want to be able to get involved in the conversation, but I'm showing them. I'm not saying come on the Zoom. I'm saying, yeah, just hanging out in here, having a great time and learning loads of stuff. Come.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that's great.
Show wherever you can, look for the show, not the tell.
Lovely, lovely. That's great advice. Thanks a million.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sarah. Lovely question, great question, very perceptive and a wonderful answer, Amanda. And that's what I'm loving, by the way, about this whole show is that, so you and I have had the chat over coffee every day. It's been earwigging. And then Sarah comes in, you and Sarah have a chat, and we're all earwigging. Yeah. It's great. I'm going to hand over to Princess Shelley. I see Edwina wants to come in, but I'm going to give to Princess Shelley and she'll bring you in a second, Edwina, if that's okay. Thank you, Sarah. And Princess Shelley, you're live.
Hello, good morning, Amanda. What a wonderful interview. I've been scribbling down a few notes myself here. You've got so many lovely little sound bites and pearls of wisdom there. I have been moderating the chat here that people have been putting into the chat box. So first of all, Edwina, who we're going to go to in a minute with her question. Edwina is a regular participant in Coffee with Column, and she said, thank you, Eamon, to a beautiful start to this morning's show. We have a pre-welcome show for those listening on our replay. And thank you for a great interview. That was for you there, Amanda. And Eamon said, my pleasure. Eve Farrelly, who's joining us this morning, said, love that, can always go back, but won't get a chance to go forward this way again, she said. So I think that was early on in the interview when you said that you never get that chance. So she obviously, that resonated, I think, a little bit with Eve. Eve also thanked Eamon to a lovely start to the pre-welcome before the show started today. Eamon then went on to say, thank you, Amanda. Just a few of the things I enjoy. Do what fills your cup. And I loved that term that you said yourself, actually, Amanda. I love that myself. I agree with Eamon there. It's okay to look for recognition. We don't know how people are feeling on the inside. When we stick our head out, we're waiting for it to be chopped off. Eamon liked that one too. And I love what you said, Amanda, about working through fears, unworthy self-beliefs. So Eamon resonated on a few of the comments that you made there. Katrina, who's joining us today, she's our editor-in-chief. She looks after the replay later on. Katrina said that she understands when you said working for recognition, that she thought she was the only one that did that. So
no, say it out loud, Katrina. It's okay. I'm going to keep shouting that. Give people permission.
So Donal asked us this morning then, Amanda, have you come across Narrative 4? Connor Egan says, he popped into the chat, the first time I met Colin was at the Red Cow at Amanda's lunchtime event. So that's great that he's joining us this morning to get a little bit more of that interaction. And then Edwina, who again we're going to go to in a moment, said she drove from Newry with her friend Caroline to cheerlead her at your first speaking at We Can and We Will in Dublin earlier this year. It was absolutely fantastic. No judgment, the welcome amazing, the energy in the room was superb, and all the stories were incredible. I drove back to Newry like a bat out of hell on fire with the event with Caroline. I've since taken part in Amanda's Facebook challenge last week, and again, this is another example of the energy Amanda brings. This too was superb. Looking forward to working with Amanda in the future. That's something else, isn't it? That's great. We have to do let's do a round of applause for that. Colin was initiating us all that. Isn't that great? So just before we go to Edwina then, Anne Christian Anderson says to everyone, thanks for a good coffee meeting, great energy. Have to go to work now and I'd love to have stayed until the end.
Can I tell you a quick story about that lady?
Absolutely, yeah.
The lady found me on social media, Christine, and she joined the last Facebook challenge, the video challenge, and she made so many friends. She was thinking about coming to live here in Dublin. And at the We Can and We Will in March, just before lockdown, she came all the way from Sweden. And here she is here today as well.
Well, that she came in there, she obviously had somewhere to go, but she came in and really appreciated the interview. So I'm sure she might listen to the replay as well, because she'll get the full thing then once it goes out this evening. So Connor kindly put in the link to your Values Matter, and I shared your Facebook and your website there as well, so people can access that. And I think that means now that we're ready to go to Edwina for her question. I will unmute you there, Edwina, and you're now live.
Thank you, Princess Shelley. Amanda, thank you for a fantastic interview. Your energy is infectious. I can feel it the whole way here to Newry, so I am just on fire. Thank you so much. So my question to you is, you give huge support to everybody. Who supports Amanda?
Ian Delaney. Ian Delaney, my husband, is just the best. I am so blessed to have Ian Delaney in my life. I really am. And thanks, Eamon, for earlier on when you were talking about the unconditional love and gratitude in your heart. First person that springs to mind, because I met my husband when I was on the floor. I mean, hard to believe it now, but there was twice in my life that I did try and take my own life. Things were that low for me. I had no confidence, no self-worth at all when I met my husband. And he just was there. He was there with that unconditional love and support for me. And he is still here. We're best friends. We do everything together. And honestly, I don't think I could have got through COVID laughing as much as we did, only for him. And you were on the video challenge last week when he dressed up. Well, he wore no clothes as a naked clown. He was character every day. And the fun and games in this house. And, you know, it's that energy from the two of us that every 72 people last week, every day showed up in video. Every day. One lady couldn't even turn the video on, and now she can. So having someone like that, you know, is just, it's priceless. I just adore the bones of him. And he's going to listen to this and he's going to get a bigger head. He's just amazing. He's always been there. No matter how harebrained my idea is, he's like, go on, love, I'll support you.
You can see that, the magic together, and that was the answer I was sort of expecting, but you've just reinforced it. But no, fantastic, Amanda. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed last week too as well. It was fantastic. So well done.
The video testimonies and coming in, they're just making me cry all week. Yeah. People are singing on video, and they're doing it's not just about video. I tell people come in to do video, but it's way more than that. It's way more than that. It's stories, giving that voice, even if it is on your own video. It's powerful.
Great comment. Great question, Edwina, and really great. As soon as you asked the question, I was kind of nodding. That's a brilliant question. I'd like to know who lights their fire and fills their cup. Yeah, I liked that. I like that a lot. I have a quick message here just to go. I'm going to unmute Donal. He's going to elaborate a little bit on the Narrative 4. So Donal, you're live. You'd like to tell us a little bit.
Yeah, just Narrative 4 is an organization based in America and Ireland. The European headquarters is in Limerick. It was founded by the author Colin McCann. And Colin got some funding in America, and he has some colleagues over there. But I was listening to Amanda right at the very beginning, where a significant aspect and skill of all her talking was to do with empathy and, everything from giving people a hug when you go in to listening to people. And that's the whole basis of Narrative 4. It brings people together. It can vary from school children to old age pensioners. It can vary from Moyross to downtown Chicago. And also people physically come together as well in the headquarters in Limerick. And people come and you tell your story to them and they tell your story to you, and then you regale people with their story and they regale people with your story. Oh. There's more to it than that, obviously, but it's a whole skill, and it's based on the quality of empathy you have with people, and it helps people grow. That's Narrative 4.
Oh, certainly Donald deserves a lovely round of applause for that. Thank you for that, Donald. I've made a little note. I'll certainly be looking it up. And as you kind of alluded to earlier on in your interview, Amanda, we have responded to the art of storytelling for hundreds of years. So that's certainly something I look up. Thank you very much. And it's back to you, Colm, in the studio.
Wow. I knew this was going to be great. It's been wonderful. Donald Thurlow, thank you for coming in. That was a lovely, just building upon Amanda Delaney's very obvious empathy. And I just felt there was an opportunity when Donald asked the question, had you heard of Narrative 4? He said, no. I thought, well, there's something here. Let's just connect the dots. So no idea where that's going to lead, but it'll be magic regardless of where it leads. Come here, it's been an absolute joy, a real joy having you on, Amanda, and you kick-started the week. We're all going into the week buzzing. It's like a we can and we will seminar, right? But it's been a real pleasure. So once again, everybody, please show our love and appreciation, Amanda Delaney.
Can I just give one little plug here, and I don't normally do this, but the Passion to Profit Academy, I'm opening the doors on Friday, the 1st of May. They close again for 3 months. So if somebody is interested in hearing more about that, get in touch with me.
Yeah, great stuff. And you can check out Amanda Delaney. I think Princess Shelley and Conor Egan have put some links in there. So check out the great work she's doing herself and others, including Nicola Connolly, Brian, a mutual friend of ours.
I'm big into collaborations.
All dubs, by the way. I have to put that in there. All dubs. You, me and Nick, right? Flying the flag. It's great.
I do work with Mr. Jerry Duffy. He's from Mullingar.
Yeah, of course. We got to get Jerry. Yeah, we let him in. Come here. As I say, an absolute pleasure, Amanda. Before I let you go, all of you, let me tell you what's going to happen on the show tomorrow. Last week we had a very difficult day. Last Tuesday, where we were Zoom bombed. Kira McCullough was to be my guest on that day, and didn't happen. She very graciously shows the measure of the woman that she is. She's very gracious to come back tomorrow. So I would really ask that if you can at all, come in and show her love and respect for being brave enough to step back into the breach. And we've secured the cafe since, but Kira McCullough, wonderful story, some backstory. She is a professional photographer. She's studying currently to be a life coach because of the way she sees the world is going. And she also ran earlier this, you know that song, The Proclaimers, I will walk 500 miles. Well, she ran 1,000 kilometers. She ran the Wild Atlantic Way for the Children's Grief Project here in Limerick. So come here, if you can at all, come in tomorrow. Once again, Amanda Delaney, it's been an absolute pleasure. My thanks to Princess Shelley for producing the show. My thanks to Eamon Smith for that beautiful introduction. My thanks to O'Brien, who is the editor-in-chief, and we'll make this all beautiful and put it out there later tonight. Slán, namaste.
Bye.